Hey everyone, I want to talk about the concept of a blissful recovery and a blissful life. I think this is a concept that holds many people back, regardless if you're an OCD or anxiety sufferer. This stems from that conditional life acceptance, particularly life acceptance, universal deservingness and fairness, and why, when you're going through OCD and anxiety recovery and you haven't felt good for a really long time, you understandably think that when you reach a level of less anxiety, less shame and guilt, that things in your life will just be perfect. And I think this is the case for people when they get a new job, or they buy a new car, or they have a new girlfriend, or they get a salary increase, by a large amount, 20%. And they think that things will just magically be better, but that's just not the case. We know that's not the case because we see things happen to people who seemingly have everything going for them in really, really tough situations. I just had 9.5 hours of continuing education straight, so I'm with a little stir crazy right there. I'm not used to sitting still for 9.5 hours. Unless I was in grad school, it's been a long time since I had to do that, and I did that for a while. So I wanted to jump on here as I'm making this on September 30th, the last video of the month, and I think this is a very important topic to cover because many people ask me about this topic. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below, let me know what you think about this topic. It's a very, very important topic. So let's start out with one of the core beliefs. Oh, and of course, Phil at OCDRecovery.com. And the What's Up link should be down below to direct message Phil. Okay, let's use the first book. So your goal for this example is to become comfortable with the realities of life, whether you're suffering with OCD or not. To become comfortable with the realities of life, whether you're suffering from OCD or not. Your rational belief is, even in OCD recovery, which again isn't some finish line that we think, there will more than likely still be hardships in life. Spouses will die, children may die before us, mom, dad, losing our jobs, the economy, everything that can happen. I can try to learn from these experiences, accept them for what they are, and try to, view these hardships in a better light, the more unconditional light. So your irrational belief is, no matter what, when I reach OCD recovery, which is already a mistake because you're looking for that line in the sand, when I reach OCD recovery, nothing must go wrong. It's a blissful state. I'll always know, I'm going to add some stuff in there that people struggle with. I will always have control over my actions. I will always know my movements. I'll have complete control over my thoughts. And I will live in this perfect world. We obviously know that that's not the case. And the reason why that's not the case is because there's many people out there where things go wrong all the time. The consequences from holding that irrational belief are you're constantly, the internal hawk, the thermometer is going at full speed. So you're constantly watching out for that. When am I going to be better? When am I going to feel better? Which is really common. Many people do that. You also have the belief that if things don't go your way, it will be terrible, which can spiral you into depression. Okay, so let's look at the disputing. I never really go over so much the disputing questions, but let's go through these, okay? Why must OCD recovery look like a blissful state? Where is the evidence that it has to look exactly how I imagine? There is no reason why I must feel good all the time in OCD recovery, but there are several reasons why I would prefer to. No evidence exists that I have to enjoy every moment. And again, this doesn't have to do anything with that's OCD, this isn't OCD. By the way, that's a big mistake. You never hear Rob, me, Momin, Phil, Sam, the other moderators ever say, oh, that's just OCD. I don't ever say those words because it doesn't matter whether it's OCD or not. All that matters is my perspectives on something. That brings away that whole, my mind doesn't ruminate, oh, is that real or not? It doesn't matter if it's real or not. I approach it the same exact way. And by the way, using the terms blissful and using the terms like overly fantastic sets you up for failure. Anytime I've used those words when I was feeling good, such as this is blissful experience, it's understandable, but you're latching on the good moments, and that's a very big problem. That's a very big problem, okay? Okay. In what ways is it awful if I don't get the things I want in life whilst I've reached OCD recovery? So broken down your core fears. In no way is it awful. It may be damned inconvenient, but it's hardly 100% inconvenient, since it could be worse, which means you could have the biggest relapse ever when you thought you were recovered. You could diagnose with cancer. You could have all sorts of things go wrong. Motor vehicle accidents, losing of your children, your friend is murdered, there's a war that breaks out in your country, lots of different things, okay? New effective philosophy, okay? I can't prove that I will always feel great in OCD recovery, but I will hardly die if life's hardships don't go my way. Second, if I really couldn't stand it, I wouldn't be able to stand it at all. I can't stand it. This is the worst thing ever. There's nothing worse than this, etc., etc. And that's how you break that down. So let's go over some of the realities that happens when you're in a much better place in your recovery. Forget even the term OCD recovery. You're in a much better place rationally, emotionally. What are things that will probably go wrong in your life, okay? So career and job, and that's from bosses to coworkers to finances, okay? Family. And inside family, that's a whole range of stuff. Children not behaving, problems with your children from a health perspective, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters you don't get along with, addiction, arguments, in-laws, holidays, politics, money, and religion coming up, the big three as I always like to talk about. So career, job, even though I already kind of just touched on this in the career and job one, but just finances in general, maybe you lost a job. Maybe you're making more money, but you have really bad behavioral traits, so now you're in more debt. We see that a lot, and then people attaching their self-worth to that. Your health, this is obviously things that can go wrong and will go wrong. We all die. Accepting your inevitability of death is one of the greatest signs of human maturity. Again, you don't have to like it, but accepting the realities of death, it's very, very important because we all are going to die one day. But your health, anything can go wrong, from a simple, broken bone to a terminal illness like my father who had stage 4 cancer. Let's say driving. If you live in the city, people cutting you off, giving you the finger, telling you to fuck off, all that side of stuff. That's a really big thing. People with road rage, whether it's you or other people, road rage. Let's see. This kind of goes in the family, but let's just kind of put the sleep ones in there. For kids, we work with a lot of people who have 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. I mean, I know a couple people in real life who have 6 to 9 kids, They're not sleeping well. Fear of burnout is still very much alive in the majority of humans. We have a lot of, as Rob and myself always say, the fear of burnout can hinder all of your ambitions. Until one breaks that down, they really, think about this, right? I just was in class for 9.5 hours, and then I had to come out here, and I'm like, I'm going to make this YouTube video. And I thought that was a very important thing to do. But there's some other places that things will go wrong. Oh, traveling. Good story for you. A buddy of mine, they saved for a couple years to go to Africa on safari for 2 weeks. Cost a lot of money. Him and his wife. He got sick the day he got there, and they lost their luggage for the first weeks. They had no luggage for the first 7 days in Africa. They had to buy all stuff in the hotel and everything like that. So traveling, things going wrong, losing money, robberies, maybe you're pickpocketed. Let's see. Those are really all the major things that can go wrong. And obviously death, we already covered that, but losing a loved one, a family member, a friend, just accepting the realities of life. And just everything else that kind of comes along with all this. So these are the things that are going to happen. The difference is I have the tools now. These are just that list of things. I have the tools now to break a lot of this stuff down when things go wrong. I always have this book on my desk, not because I need to read it anymore, just because, I work with OCD sufferers all day long. So I'm always breaking down beliefs. And, people ask me that too. They said, you have to maintain this in recovery. I said, no, because a great example is, if you're 32 years old and I say, you believe in Santa Claus, and you say no, do you have to remind yourself over and over again, if you don't believe in Santa Claus? The answer is no. You just don't believe in Santa Claus. So again, let's cover one more exercise for you guys, because I think this is a very, very important topic. We'll go to my other 2 favorite pages, 96, 97. So your activating event would be something goes wrong whilst you're in OCD recovery. You lose your job, okay? Your irrational beliefs would be, I must not lose my job. It's absolutely terrible to lose my job. I can't stand losing my job. I just went through OCD recovery. I can't take any more hardships. That's where that deservingness and fairness comes in. life isn't worth living now because I put so much work in to get better and now I'm stuck here again. So those are those irrational beliefs. So I want you guys to really think about this. Remember, things go wrong. The difference between OCD recovery when you're stuck in the OCD cycle and you're getting better and better is that you have tools for life. And many people who are going through the recovery process are realizing this. Oh, excuse me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please ask down below. Things are always going to go wrong when you're in OCD recovery. Just kind of how life goes, you know. Numerous things go wrong on a daily basis. People cancel and stuff doesn't happen. We just had someone try to steal money from our business through a fake check, and you know, we have problems internally, and then, you know, traveling coming up. I had a lot more traveling, which means I'm not actually working, which then dampens income and stuff like that. So you just have things that are going wrong at all times. The adaptability and being able to handle stress is probably the number one trait I would look for in anyone when I'm trying to coach them on things to change their lives. And that's one of the number one things, adaptability, mixed with consistency. So thank you so much as always, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.